Okay, Jason Moomaw Jam on the fly. Gonna tie a popper fly. Beautiful little fly for muskie. Uh, Creating anywhere from 6 to 9 inch minnows. Really, really easy tie. Popper head. I put them popper heads on both ways. You can see this one here. It has the big mouth. There's another one right here. It's got the smaller mouth. Facing front, I tie them both ways. All depends on how much push I want on that water. So the the halogen or the whatever they call them, what halogen I believe they are. Oh, Hollitzer. Those come in this beautiful little popper, and you can see you can fish it this way. You can put it on the hook this way, or you can put it on the hook this way with the big side. So you'll see the two differences between the two. Okay, big mouth, little mouth. Again, how much water you want to push really depends, but it's basically the same fly tied with this either way. Let me show you how we do that. I'm using a number 2 aught Gamakatsu SS15, and probably one of my favorite hooks for this. And we're going to, let me grab my puncture tool here, and we are going to take this puncture tool and we're going to line this up so we're coming right through the center and low and straight right through the eyes. So if you can see that, that's what we're trying to achieve, and you can see where I'm at on the piece. I'm down low. Okay, pop that through like that. That gives a nice guide for your fly. Now you can put, if you want the small end on first, feed the small end on first. Come straight through. Hopefully you come out the same hole. You can see if you do or you don't. But that's what you're going to try to do, because you just gauged it with that tool, and push that right on to the hook. Very little effort. You put that onto the hook, open up the vise, put that into vise. We're just going to take some old thick GSP wire thread. Just doesn't really matter what thread you use here. We're just trying to add a little bit of bulk and get something on the bare shank. Just like that. Cut that off, tag end off. Oh, cut that tag end off. We're gonna throw a couple whip finishes in here real quick. Get rid of that. Tighten that all up. Again, snip your line. Put some good old super glue on there, or whatever you use. As you work the head front, twist it around, work it right to the position that you want. Check to make sure that it's right in line where you'd like it, and twist it in the exact position. Turn this down like that. Take your super glue and put a nice little bead here in the back, just like that. And I guess I should be zooming in on this, and I will. That way you can see what is going on. Okay. Again, just super glue the backside like that in there. And let me see if I could get this a little bit more focused. Okay, there you go. Super glue the backside, front side. You see everything's perfectly in line. That's exactly where I want. I'm going to set this over in a piece of foam to dry. Okay. Set that to the side to dry. Here's one I already have done. So we are going to put this in the vise. Again, we're going to start our thread, and for this I'm using a Vivus GSP heavy line. We're going to spin some deer hair at the end of this, so we're just going to start with this and work the whole fly in with this. And we can really crank down on this. You're never tearing this stuff. Good line. Wonderful stuff. Okay, first material we're going to tie in. We're going to get in a little bit of, and if I could roll this over, big fly material. I like the big fly material. It has these nice kinks in the top and stuff like that, and then it works into a fine hair. Okay, so if you could see that, it's kinky at the top and then it goes straight. I want a bunch of that kinky stuff in there. So we're going to come up, cut that off, so I end up with something like that. Okay, nice little kinky piece with long hairs behind it. And I am going to tie that in, pull all them little kinky pieces together, and tie that in from the front right to the tail end where it starts to bend down around the hook. I'm going to hike that up, and I'm going to put my thread behind it and underneath to hike that up just like that. Okay? I'm going to take everything in front and cut it off. Get rid of that. Okay? Now you can pretty much see, and I'm going to back up on this a little bit so you can see my vise. I come back into here, and again, let me get this over where I want to see it. I want that fly to end somewhere in here. So what I'm going to do is just slowly nip a couple pieces, and my last cut will be right there at the end where I want the very longest length to be right about at that knob. Okay? But I have some shorter ones in there. And this little bit of bulk that we just tied in there is what everything's going to lay around. Now we're going to come to feathers. Again, going to take some hackle feathers, some nice long feathers. I'm going to take three. I'm going to take 3 of these. And I am going to lay them in. And I'm going to line up the tips somewhat. Don't have to be perfect, just so they're close, something like that. And I'm going to grab these. I'll put them to the camera side, right there about the length, that little pin knob right there. No further. That's what I'm trying to tie this fly, so I'm not going any further than that. Okay? Again, we tie that in. We're going to lift up on the pieces here, cut them off, save these guys. We're going to tie that in so it's to the camera side. Okay, so that's all to the camera side. Alright, so now we got 3 feathers there on the camera side. I'm going to set my little tab ends to the side. I'm going to grab 3 more feathers. And I'm going to put them as well now to my side. No longer than the tip. Right there. So that's where they're going to be. Right there. And they're going to be tied into my side. Okay. They stay right on my side. And again, the same thing. We're going to come in and snip these 3 off and save them. Okay. I'm going to take these pieces like this. And you can see now they're cut off nice and flat. I'm going to put a tip on them. Simply by cutting them like this. I'm going to make them look natural. See that? See them ends now look natural? Taking the same piece, we're going to go about halfway on the camera side. Okay, so here. Now we're going to come into here, somewhere right around this area, maybe right here at this silver. And I'm going to tie these in to the camera side. Okay, and the other 3 that we had left from the other side will go on the other side. Okay, so we'll take these 3, do the same thing, clip the tips, trying to make them look natural. No sense in wasting these feathers. They're expensive enough to begin with. There, we got nice natural tips now. Okay? And again, just line them up with the silver part right here and tie them into my side. Just like that. Creating a nice bottom base. that is everything that you're putting on the bottom. So that is what we would call your underbelly, and we're going to tie that in. Now we're going to start with the color up on top. And to start with that, we're going to get a piece of, oh, let me see what we got here. We have all kinds of different things to throw in. We have yak hair, which I love, which is a synthetic. And it's basically just a curly, stiffer piece. I use a couple fibers of that. And if you look at this, I'm just going to comb this out so it looks like a bit of a tail. If it looks like a little long, snip it off. No big deal. Find an end point, put it right on top there. Let's tie that in as well. Okay. Fold right over the back. This will be going right down the back. And of course we want to end here. But what I'm going to do is just kind of take some nicks and just kind of cut some of these fibers out. My last cut will be there. And tie that in. Again, when we get to the back here again, I'm going to hike everything up and keep that tail hiked. Okay, and that'll identify the back of your fly. Just like that. So you can see all these materials, when they start moving in the water, are going to look really neat. So that's that. The next step is to add some color. We're going to add some color to this, and the color that we're going to add will be like a blue and purple type of a mix. So I'm going to take some of this blue DNA. Going to take a nice little stack of this stuff and snip that off. I like to pull this out, and I like to make the tips uneven and even run them down pretty good. And then just line the very longest tips that you have up with the back of the fly. Get rid of all the excess and tie that in. Okay, just like that. And we're going to tie that right into the back. If you have any extra, you could lay it right down the back and just tie that in as well. It just adds a little bit of bulk, which we really don't need in this fly. This thing will look gorgeous with them tails sticking out when it's all said and done. And now we're going to finally end with a little bit more color on top. We're going to go with some of this purple hackle, saddle hackle. And let me see what we got here. Just whatever, 3 or 4 of them right across the top. Let me see what we got here. Drag that thing. We're going to kind of keep the tips kind of aligned. We're going to run it the whole length of the fly and tie that in. Okay, right on top. Just like that. See, it's just right on top, just like that. And that just adds a little color there to the top. Come back in. We're going to snip this out. Okay. Now we got some color. We got some beautiful color. A little bit of everything in there. Got a nice belly tone to it. Got a little bit of everything. Next step, I'm going to hit this bottom here with a little bit of super glue, making it stupid durable. Okay, and of course you can wrap your thread around there and make that thing bond all through the piece. We're going to take some gray deer hair next. Grab a little pinch of gray deer hair. If you have a measuring device or something like that, you could see how long you want the pieces. But I'm looking for a few deer hair like this, and I want them to be about half the body or just shy of the silver part of my vise here. Okay, so I know where to cut that. I'll put that to the camera side right here. Tie that fast, and that is going to the camera side, so you will see it on your side. And that gets tied in there. Just like that, okay? Right to the camera side. We're going to take another little batch. And we're going to tie that into my side. And again, you just thin this out however thin you want it. I don't like to pile this on, but I do want hair there. And again, measure, see what you'd like, cut it off, and then lay it right into position. This will go to my side. So it kind of matches it's kind of a mirror image of the other side, okay? And if you go look at that, you'll see hair on that side and hair on that side, okay? Nice little batch on either side, okay? We work this again front. We can put as many wraps as we want on that.
Let's take a look.
And just to finish up, we're going to put a little bit of deer hair. Let me put this on. There we go. Purple deer hair right over the top, just to brighten up that purple and get this whole deal looking neat. So again, grabbing the tips, getting rid of all the excess, line the deer hair up. This one here we could keep longer because we're coming straight out the back, and I'm just going to keep it full length, which is pretty much close to the same size, just a shorter hair that I have for that. With the others, there you go. Now we have a nice beautiful streamer. We got really soft feathers coming out the back of that deer hair, and we created some bulk for a body. Now we go to what I'm going to call a collar. We're going to put a collar in this. Again, come back. Let's hit this with some super glue. Let's wrap that around and maybe even tie back a little bit to get a good start. Okay, making the fly completely adorable. Alright. And we're going to do a collar. So what I'm going to use for the collar is this little piece of purple deer hair. Okay, so I got a little purple deer hair, and I want to see all the tag ends, or all the little hairs on this coming out the back, because it is going to be our collar. Again, grab it by the tips, comb out all the soft stuff, all the little stuff. You run your scissors through it or whatever you want to do. Just get rid of all the little micro hairs that are going to make this thing not work. Once you have that, you see the way you're holding this piece of deer hair like that, and all them fibers out. I'm going to lay that right on the back, and I'm just going to catch the tips like this. Okay, and I'm going to come around completely, and I'm going to flare it. And I'm going to flare it in a way so that the main part of my collar is on top. Okay, so you see there's not a lot of collar underneath. As I turn this, see the bottom's kind of empty of collar. That's what I want. Okay, and I'm going to just keep turning this around. I'm actually going to trim that right off the bottom because I don't need that. I don't want that collar there. We want to keep that open for hook gap. So there you can see we got a nice little collar up on top. Now we're going to come in and fill this area with some more deer hair, and I actually like to pick this rusty color orange to use for my deer hair fill. What we're going to do, take a nice little patch of it, and again grabbing the tips, combing out all the underfur, and this stuff happens to have a little bit of underfur to it, so just twist your fingers and stuff as you comb through it, and you'll see all them pieces kind of fluttering and flying all over the place. All the little pieces, get rid of them. We're going to lay that in here. I'm going to come right across the top, and we are going to let that work its way around the whole top. And let me see here, I like to have a little bit more, and we're going to flare that and come right through it. Beautiful. Bring that front, get to the back. We're going to go right underneath to the bottom. You see where we're at the bottom? Take another clump. It doesn't have to be as big because we're just filling in the bottom here. Again, comb out your fibers. lay it in, come right over to the back side and just flare that sucker. And then we're going to walk this front into the section between the head and the tailing fibers, doing the same thing. Taking another nice sized chunk of deer hair, pick out all the tall ones, pinch, clean out all the hair, just like that. Get it nice and clean, and you can see there's still stuff coming out of there. Lay it right behind the head, come right down through with this piece, fan it out a bit like that, and just pinch it and wrap it in. Now come right behind the head, and it looks like we're going to be alright. I really don't need any more hair underneath the bottom. I could put it there if I want, but I really don't, because I don't care if there's less hair underneath, and there's kind of a reason for that. And that is, and I have a little bit of a wrap. I don't know if you can see that or not, but you see there's a little bit of a wrap there on the foam. That I do not want. I want to pull on this really good and make sure that that's down in. But I don't want to cut my fibers once I start to whip finish this fly, which I'm going to do right now. Again, with a nice hand whip finish, come right behind the foam, maybe 5, and you can really crank down on this. It's not that important because we are going to be soft texting this, and it'll hang, but it's a little bit important. So just like that, come in, get the scissors, snip that out. Now we have a little bit of trimming to do. Going to flip this upside down, and I'm going to cut. What we're doing here is clearing, completely clearing the hook set. Okay? So you see we're created the gap now between the hook and the fly, the belly of the fly. So we got this completely cleaned out. Any fish that grabs that's going to get the point of that hook now, because that's completely cleared out, if you could see what we did there. Okay, now we're going to switch over to, let's do this. I'm going to switch right over to a razor blade. These things are really the best way to do this. We're going to take a razor blade, and I am going to bend it into the shape of the top of the bobber and continue that shape straight back, just like that. Come around this side, continue that shape, just like that. Come around this side, continue that shape, just like that. This side, and you can see what we're doing there, basically just cutting that completely off in line with the fly itself. So it's flush. See how nice that looks? Okay, now depending on how much color you want, and I already pretty much decided that I want the purple to be my color, not the red. I'm going to kind of completely clip off the red fibers, allowing the purple to stick out, just like that, okay? So now we got that beautiful fly, but it looks kind of goofy with a white head, so we're going to change that up real quick and kind of make a difference there. Basically, you're just going to take a purple marker, and we're going to come straight around this thing like this, and we are going to color, just like you did when you're a kid with the crayons. We are going to color this thing purple. Going to be a dork fly, just like that. And we're going to make this sucker look cool. And that is how you turn a white fly into a dark fly really quick. Again, hitting the mouth, edge, hitting the mouth edge. Really cleaning that up really nice. Again, we can come back in and look how decent that fly looks. You could come in and we could make the mouth red. How about that? Let's do that. We'll come in and do as much red as we could to that. Basically blending the whole damn thing together. Okay, now I don't know if you can see that, but we made the mouth red, so I will turn the vise so you can see that. There you go. You see the mouth inside there's red. Can't really do that little white spot there around the thing because of the glue that we applied there earlier, so we're not going to worry about that. Next step, these call for a number 6 eye. I just happen to have tons of number 5, so I'm just going to throw a number 5 on. And I'm going to throw a number 5 on. Because it's a dark fly, we'll throw number 5 on in a light color. In fact, these look like 6s. I think I may have a little batch of 6s here. We'll use them. So again, turn this and grab our super glue gel. Okay, and we'll turn this bugger into a completely different creature than what you're looking at right now. We'll make it look back at you. How about that? Pop that in there, grab our eye, we're going to lay it right into the opening, and that is a size 6, so that does fit right in there perfect. Okay, just like that, and I'm going to do the same on the other side. Okay, again, grab an eye, lay it right on there. And put our eyes away here. We could do a little bit of cleanup with the tool. Let me see where I got that. Oh, always something. My bodkin. Where's that at? Yeah, we'll use this. This will work. Just going to take that, and I have a little bit of glue seepage, so I'm going to grab anything really. You see what the heck I got going on here. I'm just going to take a little bit of that extra glue off. Push that eye on. That little extra bit of glue. Push that eye in. There you go. Now he's looking back at you. Nice little popper design. Last step, we're going to take some Softex. We're going to take a brush. And you're just going to completely brush the whole area here with the Softex, and that is it. That is the JM Popper, and it is absolutely incredible streamer fly. And I'm talking about multiple species here. I'm not talking about just musky or just whatever. This is a smallmouth killer as well. Believe it or not, these smallmouth love to eat big minnows. And that's only freshwater that we're talking about. Largemouth bass, pike, muskie. It's a killer for anything that eats minis, predator minis. And then when you get into salt water, it never ends. Any fish, any predator that feeds in salt water will eat this thing. Especially schnookers. Snook love it. And that is a JM Popper, and you can see how when this thing is in the water, the bulk that it has is absolutely gorgeous. This one's tied, of course, with the big mouth. You flip the head, and you can tie it with the little mouth, and you'll get this guy. You'll get that look. So whatever way you want to tie it, however you want to do it, it's a neat little popper, and that's it. JM Popper Fly. JM on the fly, and I am out of here.